writes, "In high school, I had the good fortune of having an art teacher who loved art. She wanted us to love it too, so she introduced us not only to great works of art, but more importantly, to the people who created them." Pastor Ramsey's enthusiasm and candor make accessible these high art forms to connect deeply with our ordinary lives. Art then is finally connected to life, and life can become part of our art. Life, after all, is the great art of divine design. This is where beauty is so essential, Ramsey notes as he guides readers through Van Gogh to Rembrandt. He also gives ample attention to little-known names such as Tanner and Trotter. To be a Christ follower is to behold the fragments before us, to pay attention and consider the lilies, especially through the eyes of someone like Lilias Trotter, whose missionary gaze into the beautiful, not just her art, but the art of her life, revealed astounding insight from the simple sight of a bee. Quote, "He was hovering above some blackberry sprays, just touching flowers here and there, yet all unconsciously life was left behind at every touch." Unquote. We all wrestle to write, paint, and dance. Even our small struggles can lead to a larger revelation as we pay attention to that which captivates us. We also wrestle to preach, to live out our callings as Christ followers. Like the bee, we are in the business of leaving behind life at every touch. This book is a gift to the next generation and beyond. "There's nothing more genuinely artistic than to love people," said Vincent van Gogh. Pastor Ramsey has loved well, and I am glad to read this account of his journey with these masterpieces that feed our souls. This book reminds us of the humble yet life-changing presence of everyday teachers, parents, pastors, and countless invisible influences that make our lives God's masterpiece. So, why live? Through art, such deeper questions are etched into our minds and in eternity. This book clarifies that art makes possible our experience of the new creation on this side of eternity. In order to truly live, we must learn to see through the eyes of our hearts, through the veils of our darkening reality, into the illuminations of what artists have painted. Makoto Fujimura, artist and author of Culture Care, Silence and Beauty, and Art Plus Faith, A Theology of Making.
Chapter 1. Beautifying Eden. Why pursuing goodness, truth, and beauty matters. There's so much beauty around us for just two eyes to see, but everywhere I go, I'm looking. Rich Mullins. Henry Nouwen wrote in The Return of the Prodigal Son, "Our brokenness has no other beauty but the beauty that comes from the compassion that surrounds it. Our wounds are not beautiful in themselves. The story behind their healing is, but how can we tell the story of our healing if we hide the wounds that need it? This book is about beauty. To get at it, this book is filled with stories of brokenness. If you've ever tried to make a realistic self-portrait, you've probably made this discovery. Only the truth will work. In my high school art class, I was given the assignment to draw a self-portrait. As my eyes went back and forth from the mirror to the paper, I tried to draw what I saw, with a few improvements. I gave myself brighter eyes, a more chiseled nose, greater definition in my cheekbones, and a little less of a baby face. My vanity resulted in a portrait of someone who didn't look like me, and a B-. Vincent van Gogh, 1853 to 1890, painted more than 40 self-portraits. Some are not realistic at all. For example, when he was fascinated by Japanese art, he rendered himself with the distinct shaved head and Asian eyes of a Buddhist monk. But one of his self-portraits stands out as being brutally honest. Self-portrait with bandaged ear. He painted it in January 1889, the year he produced The Starry Night, and the year before he died of a gunshot wound to the abdomen. If you know anything about Van Gogh outside of his art, perhaps you know he was a tortured soul. Vincent suffered from depression, paranoia, and public outbursts so disconcerting that in March 1889, 2 months after the completion of Self-Portrait with Bandaged Ear, 30 of his neighbors in his little village of Arles, France, petitioned the police to deal with the fou rou, the red-headed madman.